Today I want to talk about an extremely important subject, psychic attacks. Now, although there is quite a bit of information and importance given to the subject of psychic attacks on the internet, there is not enough given to what there should be. Psychic attacks are extremely serious and extremely dangerous. A psychic attack is no different than someone assaulting you physically or in a verbal manner to really try and damage you. It has the same psychological and, importantly, physiological effects as a violent assault. It is a heinous crime that goes unpunished for the most part, and this video is going to describe to you what a psychic attack is and how you defend yourself from them, which is remarkably easy. Now, firstly, what is a psychic attack? A psychic attack is a malicious projection of psychic energy from someone's nervous system directed towards you or someone they despise that causes a disruption in your psychic system and therefore your psychic and psychological integration, and also, more importantly, the dissipation of your immune system, leading to all kinds of health complications and other issues, both neurological and physiological. How the psychic attack works is, the person who has the hatred for the other person, their nervous system is so charged with this hatred, very similar to a heightened state of pure magical energy during a magical ritual, that it's projected from them. In between them and their target is a buffering aspect of the quantum field. So psychic attack pushes here, pushes like a shunting effect through the quantum field and reaches the target. That's how you're able to do a psychic attack on someone on the other side of the world. It's basically connected to quantum entanglement, but it's a pathological entanglement where they've entangled a destructive or pathological outcome directed towards you. Now, who does psychic attacks? The most common one are people who have been dumped or their relationships have ended and they have a psychic attack either towards the person, and this could be deliberate, like concentrating, I want them dead, I want them destroyed. Deliberate, or just usually just jealousy and envy and hatred or sexual frustration, and that could be directed to the partner of the person. Now, this is why celebrities they use tricks to offset the evil eye. Celebrities are the subject of ferocious psychic attacks from celebrity-obsessed individuals, stalkers, fans, mad fans who've been let down by their star. And in this age where people are so psychotic when it comes to celebrities, something like a celebrity that they saw in the street, they say, hey, and they jump on, and the other person wants to get on with their life, with their kids, and they're like, please, give me some space here with my kids. That to them is an act of extreme rejection, and they will try to hate that celebrity. This is why you see photographs of celebrities with one eye covered, of this symbol, or this symbol. These are all traditional Indo-European ways of deflecting the evil eye. This is why every single celebrity is photographed like this, or this. That's well known as why they do that. That has nothing to do with Satanism, or they're in the Illuminati, or the AllSeeing Eye. This is to deflect the evil eye. This is something you should be doing yourself, by the way. If there's pictures of you on Facebook, you should have a picture of you at least doing one of these things. Of course, you can't reach these dumb truthers who think it's all like, Illuminati, Satanism. But in reality, that's why they do it. That's the reason why they do it. Because of the Christianization of the alternative scene. They're terrified of anything that isn't Christian and automatically consider it satanic or devil worship. It's not. This is Italian folk magic, this is Slavic folk magic, and this is Indo-European folk magic to deflect the evil eye being a psychic attack of jealousy or hatred. Now, some of us may know, some of you may know, who's psychically attacking you. But in many cases you won't, because it's a complete stranger you don't even know. Or you just see it on the street, or you work with them, and you have no idea that they hold this absolute horrific hatred towards you. They may be someone on a train going to work who's jealous of you because they see you kissing your good-looking husband goodbye, and they're jealous that that's not their husband, or you look better in a certain dress that they do. You get a lot of this kind of hatred at weddings. There's a huge amount of psychic hatred and psychic attacks go on at weddings because there's huge amounts of jealousy by the unmarried women towards the bride. There's a lot of that kind of thing goes on. This is why weddings feel intrinsically evil. There's a reason for that. Now, another thing with someone at work who secretly doesn't like you, and they're saying, I hate him, I hate her, I hate him, I just wish that something happened to them, I hate them. And that becomes a very powerful psychic attack. That, I know it seems like it's unreasonable. I mean, I don't think I've ever hated anyone in my life. I don't have hatred in me. It's just not something, I've disliked or been angry at a person, but I've never hated them to that degree. That I was filled with visceral fury, mainly because I use techniques to deal with that. That's the purpose of magic anyways, to help you tame your nervous system and your psychological responses to these things. But there are many people out there who hate like you could not believe, and have envy and jealousy like you would not believe. And this is their nervous system pushing out on the quantum field through its buffering effect, through quantum entanglement, and it's going into the other person on the other side. So that's how a psychic attack happens. Now there's a physical side of a psychic attack which is very interesting, which I'll explain in a little while. Now firstly, how do you know you are under psychic attack? Well, it's pretty simple. You may be doing all right in your life, you may be happy, you may be in a good relationship, you may be doing well in your job, you may be feeling good, but there's this gnawing feeling in your stomach. You have this gnawing feeling of tension. It's difficult to go to sleep at night. You often wake up at night in panic states. This is your nervous system trying to keep you alive from this lunatic. This is what's happening. Another thing is that you can't enjoy food. You suddenly had this joie la vie, this like dolce vita, this zest for life, and it's suddenly switched off. You're not able to protect yourself, and there's no reason why you cannot understand it. Things are going good, I'm pretty happy, you know, the wife just had a kid, blah 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 blah. Why do I feel like I'm being torn apart? You're under a psychic attack. Usually most likely a jealous or malicious individual who's jealous of you. Jealousy and envy are almost like currencies on this planet. Now you will find yourself walking more like this. You're crouched down, and you suddenly will feel old and tired. That's a big part of it. And you look yourself in the mirror one day and you say, gosh, I got old very quickly, didn't I? Or I look at myself now, I look older, and I didn't look older last year, or something like that suddenly happened. At the same time, this gnawing in the pit of your stomach, these waking up at night with panic attacks, this sense of dread that shouldn't be there and exists. Now, in some cases, you will actually know who your psychic attacker is. I knew one woman who was a mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law had a weird kind of Oedipus complex with her son, and she resented this woman who'd married and taken her little boy away. She knew exactly where it was coming from. But here's the beautiful thing about psychic attacks, is that you don't have to know the source in order to fight back. Now, one more manifestation I want to mention before I get to the next part, is that another manifestation of psychic attacks is, have you ever been walking down the street, minding your own business, waiting for a train, waiting on a bus, standing in a shop queue, and someone went up to you and you're a fucking asshole, a complete stranger, and walked away? Or you're fat, you're stupid, you're ugly, and they walked away, and you're like, what? Or they give you a punch. What about that one? You get smacked. And that's how it happened to many of us, you know, all through our lives. You're sitting there one day. Now what happens is, as the Swamis and the yogis tell us, there's more human bodies on this earth than there are souls to inhabit them. And in recent years, the whole science, as well as the actual spiritual aspects of the NPC, the non-role-playing character, the human being that does not have an internal state, they're purely a bag of conditioned responses. They're purely a machine, a flesh robot that exists on this earth, that's been brought into birth, but no soul entered it at birth. So it basically goes through life being programmed like a robot. Now, this has been greatly scientifically studied in recent years, these people don't have an internal monologue. They work out everything out on the surface. They don't have an internal debate about things, understanding. They don't work their cognition that way. They purely are learned. They have learned conditional things. They live a purely Pavlovian existence. There's nothing beyond that. And this is why we have a proliferation of all these crazy atheists and all these other types today. It's because they have been born without souls. So these are the people when you explain to them what a spiritual experience is. They're like, what's that? That's because they don't even hear their own voice in their own head talking, thinking that when they're thinking something out or working something out, they don't even have that. And this is what these people today are walking, millions of them around us. There's huge numbers of them. Probably half or more of the human race, just robots. Now what happens is, if you're under severe psychic attack by someone who hates you, and one of these flesh golems or meat robots comes into your circle, they pick up on the projection that's sent to you by the pathological individual that's psychically attacking you, and it suddenly hits them, and like a program machine, they walk up to you and go, "You're ugly, you're a piece of shit," or they hit you for no reason, and they walk away. If you were to ask them later on why they did that, they would go, "What? I don't know why I did it." That's because the psychic attack comes through them. It manifests in them, almost like a puppet. They become an automaton programmed by the psychic attack. Think back over your life. I bet there's been several times where someone walked up to you in the street, on a train, and started insulting you in the most awful way, or may have even hit you for no reason. That's a meat golem, and it's getting worse, by the way, that's a meat golem that's been programmed by the psychic attack in your immediate locality, environmental field. And this is a problem too, because what's happening as you're being attacked, what's happening is the buffering system through the quantum entanglement is crushing your nervous system back into yourself. So your charisma is failing. You don't have the self-confidence you had. You're losing your ability to communicate, to think and rationalize, because your nervous system is doing everything to keep you alive from this psychic attack from stopping your heart or something along those lines. This is why we're dealing with something that should really, there's no way you can actually prosecute it except in the court of the eternal goddess, but there's no way to actually prosecute this, what is a real crime. And it's getting worse with all the meat golems and the meat robots. It's getting worse. Now, how do you defend against a psychic attack? Now, the most stupid piece of advice is all over the internet. You must send love to your attacker. That's like giving lubricant to your rapist. This comes out of this Christian mindset that you have to love your enemies. No, you are in battle, okay? There's a war going on, and what you need are two things: bravery and honor, and you must fight back. A Christian may sit there and be slaughtered like a lamb for the Lamb of God, but the rest of us pagans and the rest of us will not do that. So how do you deal with that aspect of it? Very simply, the psychic attack is very easily deflected, okay? Now, the beauty of this is the individual giving you the psychic attack, that energy is not coming from outer space. That energy is coming from their own nervous system. So they're depleting their own nervous system to get at you. That's why you have the kind of like twisted face of the horrible, hateful person that hates everyone, because their nervous system is collapsing and they're losing their charisma and they're falling in on themselves. They develop an almost toad-like, they're almost toadish, something like a toad, almost like a sluggish toad kind of thing about them. That's how they almost resemble that. And so it's a no-win situation for the psychic attacker. But you can't sit there and go, oh, well, the person's psychic attacking me, they're eventually going to destroy themselves. No, they might kill you first. They might kill you first, so you've got to fight back. How do you fight back? Very simple, you deflect it. Now, because the process is ultimately bioelectrical, i.e. the nervous system, great, no problem. Get yourself something that disrupts the nervous system in terms of outside forces coming in on it, because they're ultimately sending you something through, it's electrical, okay? Even though it buffers on the quantum field, on the other side, both ends, it's an electrical process. Very similar to how quantum computing works out. You have mathematical equations, they're done in this reality as, you know, electromagnetic spectrum in computers, digital, boom, they come out the other end as electrical magnetic spectrum, digital computers. In fact, it was quantum computing that actually gave us an insight into how things like magic, the projection of chi and things like that happen, because they kind of basically quantified it by the calculations coming back on the other end, as well as things like quantum entanglement. Now, so you need to get salt, okay? Organic sea salt, not this Himalayan pink crap that's been blown out of the side of a mountain by dynamite and carried up by slave labor. That thing is full of shock and negative energies. You need organically harvested sea salt, not table salt, sea salt. The best salt in the world of its kind, there's two types. There's Celtic sea salt and there's Dead Sea salt from Israel. Celtic sea salt and Dead Sea salt are both harvested organically. They call it kosher salt in America and Canada. That's what you need. This is because it's an electrolytic substance. It disrupts that electrical field. The second one is white quartz. Get yourself white quartz and put it all over your house. Don't buy the polished white quartz from the New Age shop, because that stuff has been blown out of a mountain, carried by slave labor, and then polished inside a machine that's destroyed its diamagnetic crystalline structure. Okay, you need to go to the beach, to the mountains, and find quartz. It's everywhere. It's the most common substance in the world that deflects and damages and it interrupts the psychic field that's being sent at you. And you can also burn incense. Incense, I don't know why it does work, but constantly burning incense definitely does seem to stop the psychic attack as well. And you'll be fine after a while. You start to recover. Your psychic energy and psychic center will start to come back. Your charisma will begin to grow again as the projection of your electromagnetic field on your nervous system outside your body come back to normal. And what happens to the other side is they're pouring all this energy into you, but they're not getting any results. Now, if they know you and see you on a daily basis, it makes them even more furious, and it makes them even more hateful, and they deteriorate and become more toad-like, even at a greater degree, until eventually they end up destroyed. So this is the way you deal with a psychic attack. Defense, really. It's like building up an electromagnetic wall using organic sea salt and white quartz. This is the most important thing you could learn today. It's so important. What I've told you right here will save your life and the ones you love. It will protect you from the world full of malicious individuals. And you can take this to the bank. You absolutely can. So there you go. Psychic attacks, very real, extremely dangerous, extremely evil, but extremely easy to deflect and begin the depletion, the acceleration of the depletion of the psychic attacker. And whatever you do, stay away from these New Age groups that say you must send love. Like, that's just suicide, okay? And take it very serious. And those of you who had someone walk up the street one day for no reason he didn't know, going, "You're fucking stupid," now you know why.